Like, nobody got
Actually,
it.
she was on the day of.
You wouldn't buy that. You wouldn't buy that. She wouldn't buy Nancy.
Like, she's out there. Like, got one that's making it to pay. Last class period.
And keep in mind that
We watched so many movies. Yeah, it's your first part. She'll sit in the car and stare at it.
This is
And
usually
then
the draw.
this is like, yeah, he's like, I
we
want
used
you
to
to
take
take
that
that
as
what
everything
font
to
to
find
find
it.
it.
I don't know what font it is.
But it's a girl, and it was me.
Colors. How big is the notebook?
In
In addition to that, you
Keep
gotta
that on
brainstorm.
there.
Somebody asked me.
All right, young people, I have sent you an email with 2 documents in it and a video. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to play the first video.
Where is this?
In your email.
I don't have.
Gotcha.
You don't have what?
I don't have headphones either.
That's okay. That's annoying.
They all do it.
It all works.
I'm just being nice and I go watch out.
Yes. No, not at all.
Doing. So he was into like my videos.
Yeah.
The first video.
From the mission.
Video, Tucker.
I'm gonna go with this one.
Yeah, I get mine first reaction to yours.
It was.
That's what I was aiming for. You know this one? Yeah, I think me and you have ours on YouTube, but he's his I just do mine. What? You can pause it, what minutes are seconds? You pause it. I'm ahead of you. Yeah, press the space bar, don't click. Let's do that.
Everybody know it's 129. Okay? Make those questions.
129.
No, it was like.
But it looks like
Click pause.
Click pause.
Yeah, so we look like
Yeah,
that.
pause on it. Click pause. There you go. Ready?
No.
1, 2, 3.
That was a little creepy of you.
He's still on. He's almost there. We'll call you. Good enough.
Weird facial expressions.
Yes, very much so.
Were they happy?
Is he blind?
No.
He's not easy one.
I'm muting you.
Why'd you do his face like that?
It's what you say.
I hope he gets shot at. Big air.
You can still hear his laugh.
Are these happy facial expressions?
They are, and really what he's doing is he's using his facial muscles to get that sound out, put it out there in different.
How dead is this guy?
Dude,
Louis Armstrong.
This one
This is not cool. Louis Armstrong died in my lifetime, so,
1971.
yeah, there you go. So here's the deal with this. The one thing that I noticed, give me your second. The one thing that I noticed, huh?
What is that from?
Old age,
He was 70.
yeah.
How does Stevie Wonder?
So here's the deal with Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong actually, how many of you were sitting here singing this song?
Whoa.
Most of you in some form or fashion have heard this. It's used in TV medias, those kinds of things. But he was like the forefront of jazz in the 1920s. And when he did this song, of course this video was not taken in the 1920s, right? So when he did this song, he really was expressing that lifetime, that existence as it was in the 1920s. So why is it so important that he was there, that he was famous, that he was a singer, that he was the star of that time frame? What's so important about that?
Because now everybody gets to know this song.
No.
It was a really good song at the time.
It was, but why him? First of all, what's his race?
Black.
Black. So you're right after what was called the Harlem Renaissance, where you had everybody from the Civil War. You had an influx of African Americans who left the South to go north. And they went to the north because of music, culture, jobs. They could express themselves in a way that they were never able to before, which was another whole existence during the 1920s. What's one of the 5 boroughs in New York City?
Harlem.
Harlem. Harlem was founded on that influx, on that Harlem Renaissance, on that influx of African Americans after the Civil War. Music, culture, art, drama, all of those things. So, I've sent you 2 documents as well. Go ahead and save those into something, wherever you save your stuff. You're going to save Prohibition, which is all about what?
Prohibition.
Yes, which is all about what? What's Prohibition? Find it for me.
Not drinking.
Not drinking. What's the amendment?
Not really for
We
sure.
can do whatever we want.
No, the amendment to the Constitution that prohibited the sale and usage of alcohol. You're sitting in front of a computer.
I know, but I don't want to hold up, that's cheating.
I don't think that's cheating. Here's the deal with Prohibition. Prohibition started an awful lot of things that you guys love today. Car racing.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Car racing. You've got the mob, for lack of a better term, organized crime, right? Started all of those things. The other document is about Harlem in New York City during the Jazz Age. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. I'll give you about 10 minutes to read those 2 documents.
Okay.
Wait, they're the same thing.
No, they're not. One's Harlem, one's Prohibition. You may have saved the same document twice. They're labeled as such too, Janaea, in the email. for dinner? Did you say fish sticks?
No.
What'd you say? No, don't show me, tell me. Oh, I had that last night. I had, was it cheerleaders who sold pizza?
Yeah.
I had that pizza last night.
Was it good?
It was different.
What kind of pizza did you have?
It was the, pretzel
Oh, I
pizza.
love that one.
It was, but I was not expecting to have to thaw everything before I put it all together. That took me a half hour that I didn't expect.
Good job, Mrs. Schneider.
You have fun at Swivl State, kiddo. All right. How we doing? We still need more time?
Yeah, I still have one of them
Go,
to
go,
read.
go, go.
I remember.
Go, go. Is that what we're gonna have chemistry last night? We have to charge it.
I worked on my bench too. I think we just.
Yeah, Shannon worked on
So did
it.
I. You got sick.
So. I got 8.
That was like shining light over the
Jokes on
cover.
you, there was no A.
He's kind of sucking up to the hilt today.
No, Harvard.
What do you want, sucker?
Did Cooper get it? I got 7.
I think you did, yes.
I was like, I got 8. Whoa, I meant left.
Do I do? I think I
Harvard.
did.
What? I heard that. Oh, I got them all cut.
That's a terrible joke. It might have been funny the first 12 times.
Show.
You know that was,
I didn't have it there.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, on July 3rd.
Pizza and carrots, actually carrots.
I think I got mine last one in.
You can't because
It's a white
Oh,
man.
No, I moved to.
roasted, I can do them roasted.
I
agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Look at that
Cause
now.
you were thinking like cooking fresh. You just were like, you just doing it.
My hair is so big.
It's definitely a possibility. I'm gonna guess that it wasn't his baby.
Cause you said,
Because Louis was
You said
actually a
something,
trumpet
you're
player,
look at
That
that
was his forte.
sway or something like that. You're like,
but that gravelly voice that he has is just.
And you got the
So,
handy bug.
I put 2 dates up there, 3 dates up there. Can you tell me what happens on those time periods? What happened?
Don't talk about it.
The Prohibition Act,
1933?
yeah,
And which amendment was it?
18.
21st.
18th repealed, or the 18th made it, right? What did the 21st do?
Repealed.
It repealed it.
I thought it was the 8th.
Huh.
Can't you just get rid of an amendment?
No, it has to be, go through what, 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate, and it has to be ratified by states and those kinds of things. So it was an experiment, right, that really failed in a lot of different ways. What about 1917? What happened in the United States? Well, what did the United States do in 1917?
There's no such thing as lanes.
Yes, there was. It happened between 1916 and 1918. A whole year, 365 days worth.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything about
No. Going on your prior knowledge here. 1917, think about this a minute.
the War of 1917.
You are close,
Total War.
World War I. We entered World War I, right, in 1917?
What?
Big deal, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that also is gonna like make us have to spend a lot of money on affairs with war, and also could possibly put us in a Great Depression, and then, yeah.
You're kind of right. We do spend a lot of money when we are at war, but we also make a lot of money when we're at war. Which is why almost always when a country is in some sort of an economic crisis, what they'll do is they will enter some sort of a war. What happened on the home front in 1917? We had to have ships, we had to have planes, we had to have meals, we had to have uniforms, we had to have everything that is there in order to outfit the troops who were in World War I, right?
Why haven't we had World War III yet? Cause like World War I and World War II were like 20 years apart, not even. And
World War III, when I was growing up, was always, if we ever enter a World War III, they figured that it would end everything because of the nuclear capabilities.
Yeah,
Because in World War I,
think
World
when
War II, we
started,
didn't really have
we
nukes.
expected
yeah, see, everybody is actually scared that we will
I
have
don't think
World
that
War
will
III
go
if we do the
on.
World War I because of everything.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I-
I think we should
everything
sign a no
nuclear that
nuke
we
treaty
have.
to go at it.
I'm less afraid of a nuclear attack than I ever have been, but, it might happen. I can tell you this, that the World War II movies, or the 50 movies, students used to, practice, you guys go do tornado drills and fire drills, they used to have to do nuclear attack drills where they had to crawl underneath their desk. And if you've listened in a science class ever, that desk is not going to protect you.
It'll do nothing.
It'll do nothing. In fact, this building is actually a fallout shelter, believe it or not. So, still, it is a fallout shelter in case of nuclear attack, and I guarantee you, you're not living if you're in here either.
No,
In the
probably
basement?
not.
No.
Because those were designed for atomic.
Well, they were designed for nuclear, but it was kind of I hate to say it was a ruse, but we didn't know a lot, you know? That's why if you lived in Nevada, during the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you were kind of like on ground zero of testing for those things. So,
A lot of space.
lot of space, yes, lots of it. Which is why during the 60s, there were so many kids who were born with appendages that were, not because of the nuclear testing and stuff like that, but over Nevada, they would actually like spray stuff to see the results on the area, and
Can they even do that?
they did it, yeah. There were lots of lawsuits in the 70s, some were successful, some weren't. Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's kind of what, today on the news, I mean, they're putting out xylitol, which is in your non-sugar stuff. They want warnings on that now because it's killing dogs. So if your dog goes and eats your peanut butter, if it's sweetened, it's got xylitol in it, and that will kill your dog. And who's really gonna look? And the only way we know is because they've tested it, and now we know it kills things, so we're going to. All right, so what about 1919? 1919 is my favorite of all of it. Big event in the United States in 1919. Huge event in 1919. And it has to do with the mob. It has to do with organized crime.
Edsel Ford succeeds his father as head of Ford Motor Company on January 1st.
Al Capone got out of jail.
No. Al Capone didn't go to jail until, we had to get him on racketeering charges.
Because he was on, because he went for like the stupidest thing and then he ended up at Alcatraz.
Which is why have you ever heard the term RICO?
Yeah.
You have, that's a roundabout way. Most of the time, mob characters don't go to jail for the killings that they do or those kinds of things. They go to jail for tax evasion. So,
Bootlegging didn't start that year, did it?
no, it did not.
NASCAR.
No. Oh, look, 1919. What happened in the United States in
The
1919?
horrible
What about the
lynching
World
in
Series?
Omaha, Nebraska?
NASCAR.
World Series, who was playing?
The 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution authorizing prohibition goes into effect into the United States.
Who played the World Series in 1919?
White Sox,
The White Sox and who?
Cook.
the Reds.
Cincinnati Reds.
These guys
White
then,
Sox,
after
Red
the
Sox.
1919 World Series, were forever referred to as the Black Sox. Why? No.
Because there was blacks on the team.
No.
More black people than
No.
white.
Why do these guys are white?
Stop guessing, go look.
Oh, Black Sox scandal right there.
What about the
Oh wait,
Red
it's
Sox?
Wikipedia, never mind.
It is huge. It is a
Because they got
huge
a team
scandal.
on the team?
One that I think affects modern day sports more than it is ever happening in the news.
It has nothing to do with Jackie Robinson.
No, nope.
But are we rather-
His name was
They
Adam.
were accused of intentionally losing games.
They
exchanged
did. The
for
White
money.
Sox were accused of intentionally losing games in order to do what?
Gamble.
In order to, they were gambling, or at least
Exchange
people were.
money for gamblers.
They did. So people were gambling on the White Sox winning or losing. The White Sox threw the games in order to make the Reds win. Organized crime, gambled. They bet on the Reds. How much money did they win? Lots.
And then they got some money in
No.
return. What?
That is, it's a huge, well, okay, so in your generation, think FanDuel.
Oh yeah.
FanDuel is an online sports gambling network. The people who were running FanDuel were putting, it's kind of like a fantasy sports, if I understand it right? So you get to get players and gamble on those
Yeah,
players
you
as
have,
opposed to
like,
the results,
You put
right?
money in and then you take like your actual money and like buy players for
Right.
only 1 week.
Alright, so, and the thing that they were doing, and if you know anything about gambling, there's odds, right? So the people who were running FanDuel were actually placing their money on those players that had the greatest odds because they weren't being bought by other people. And it's still kind of a gamble, because that player still has to perform, but if she's 100-1 because nobody's purchasing her, and she's 2-1 because everybody's purchasing her, and I run FanDuel, I'm gonna put $1 million on her, because if she pays off that night, that pays off big for me. She's not gonna pay off a lot. Now, the problem with that is conflict of interest. They had access to information that I don't have. They have access to information that the normal person who was in FanDuel didn't have. Again, organized crime kind of a thing. In Wall Street, what do they call it in Wall Street?
Money laundering?
None. Insider trading.
No.
If I own a company, let's say I own Gateway, and I know that Gateway is going to lose a major contract, and I own 50% of Gateway stock,
You're selling all ground.
I'm gonna sell it a day before. I have knowledge that nobody else knew. I'm still gonna keep the money at the stock price that it's at right now. Everybody else who owns Gateway stock is gonna buy up what I'm selling, and then the next day we lose the contract. What do those people who own Gateway stock now have? Nothing. That's insider trading. It's illegal. If you've seen, Leonardo DiCaprio,
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. He was doing penny stocks, right?
50%.
Yes. There was some inside trading going on there. He was getting information ahead of time. It's kind of like, I can equate this to something else in your world. You guys are having an American history test. You're having an American government test. You happen to go in to put something on his desk the day before, and you see the test, and you get all of those answers the day before the test. You keep them, you don't tell anybody else. The next day you ace the test, everybody else in class wants.
Mr. Munger applauds you and says, where did you have your phone?
Seriously.
I don't know if would he be that pessimistic?
Yes.
I'd probably be
Yes.
that pessimistic, yeah, I would too. But that's insider trading, that's knowing information ahead of time before that. So everybody who was gambling, through here, through the organized crime, but basically, they bet on the Reds, they knew the White Sox were gonna throw it, it wasn't the entire White Sox team, okay? You've all seen, a Field of Dreams? Really? Build it and they will come? Baseball field in Iowa?
I don't know.
It's a great movie, you should all watch it, it's a really, really great movie, Field of Dreams. Some of the players in there were on that White Sox team, and they claimed they were innocent at the time. Lots of people claimed they were innocent at the time. Pete Rose was a Red in my generation. He is officially banned for life from baseball because he was betting on his own games. All of that was a fallout from that 1919 World Series. You cannot bet on your own games. College level, college players, if they bet on their own games and they get caught, they're gone.
What if we do it in grade school or high school level?
I may have seen this.
Oh, Field of Dreams? Well, if you are throwing the game at the 7th and 8th grade level, you have other issues.
No, okay, high school level.
High school level, it's a real controversial issue because in Aberdeen, there's a bar in Aberdeen every year during the state tournament. That's all that really kind of goes on there. Of course, it's all under the table because gambling is illegal. But have you ever seen ball games where it just doesn't seem right? Makes you wonder a little bit. And those of us who grew up with this generation, we always kind of wonder a little bit. Did they throw it?
Why do you think I have such a why do you think we never win basketball, football games?
We actually, in Armour, one time we had a couple of kids who were mad at Mr. G and they threw a game. That was an issue.
Why are they mad at Mr. G?
Because they were bad kids.
How old was it? How many years ago was this?
Way, I don't even know if you guys were born, because it was before 2011, or 2001, it was before 9/11, so.
Who was it?
I'm not gonna tell you that.
Why did they throw the game?
Because they were. Yes. So, here you go. Those dates up there are really, really important. The influx of art and literature during that time frame are incredibly important, all right? Go to your blog. Ah, Lord. There are great movies, by the way, about the 1919 World Series. Great movies, great books about the 1919 World Series.
What's the name of it?
Really great books too about bootlegging and prohibition and
The good times.
yeah, well, bathtub gin. If you've ever heard that term, that's where they would make gin.
Yeah.
You had speakeasies. Have you ever heard that term?
No.
I know.
Speakeasies were illegal bars. And usually you needed some sort of a code to get in.
And then you could have alcohol.
And then you couldn't legally.
Well,
But
yeah.
they sold alcohol at those places, right. Lots and lots of people also died during this time frame, because when you make homemade hooch and you don't know what you're doing, it turns it into ethyl alcohol, which will blind you. So, if you've ever known an alcoholic who will drink
Anything.
anything,
Shaving.
shaving lotion, that shaving, what do you call it? The
Aftershave?
cologne for men, yeah, aftershave, there you go. There's alcohol in there. There's alcohol in mouthwash.
Yeah. Well, very,
All right,
It's so good
so,
for your stomach.
are we all there? Yes, no, forever hold your peace. All right, so label this one, did Gatsby get it right?
Did. Yeah.
Did Gatsby get it right?
No. Little Gatsby.
Gatsby.
Five. That's five.
Taking your knowledge of the book and taking now your very brief newfound knowledge of a couple of pretty important historical things that occurred, Prohibition, and the Harlem Renaissance kind of thing with the influx of music and culture from the African Americans. Did Gatsby get it right in The Great Gatsby? Be specific in your blog. Tell me what you think about the time frame. Tell me what you think whether or not. Did he get it right? Did he get it wrong?
Did you get what right?
The atmosphere in Gatsby, does it match up with what reality was?
Well,
What do you mean?
Did Gatsby give you an honest portrayal of the time period?
Was Gatsby before the Prohibition?
Gatsby was like 1920.
But if he had alcohol at all his parties,
It could just show.
Exactly.
would the police not know that he was?
Is there no right answer?
They couldn't.
No. Yeah, this is a you taking, do we have, is 33 when they repealed it? Find the date of the 18th Amendment.
It was sometime in 1919.
That's what I have in my head.
February 3rd, I think, maybe. February
February
3rd.
1st.
I had it looked up.
No, that's the
It was.
The bar, yeah, that's in Sioux Falls.
Okay,
That's a good
well,
place to
Is
eat.
it? I've never been there.
What, 18 on that, because I don't Prohibition.
January 16, 1999.
No kidding.
1919.
1919.
1999.
It took effect on the 17th
I just know that.
of 1920 in January.
Not going to the bar.
You never know.
No, that isn't right. That short of a time frame?
Wait, what?
When did it get repealed?
It lasted more than a year.
I have in my head it did, but.
It took effect in 1920.
1933.
So it was repealed in 1933.
Sure.
Don't say sure, find it.
Which was.
Alright, go. Did Gatsby get it right? Was the setting, was the atmosphere, were the people, were the jobs, were the activities, did he get it right in the book? Or did he take what actually happened in history and stretch it to such a degree that you can't believe what he gave you as a story? Did Gatsby get it right?